welcome back to another Star Wars Battlefront 2 guide. Today I will show you how to play Luke Skywalker. Now Luke is a very fast character and is categorized as a hit and run character. This means he does little damage to enemies but can run at a very fast pace, allowing him to get away with risky plays and allows you to get out of stupid decisions and mistakes with ease. It seems Luke is the equivalent of a race car at the Daytona 500, but that's the point, and that's how we got our speedy boy in this game.
Drop your weapons!
Luke has three main abilities: Force Push, Force Repulse, and Rush. Force Push allows Luke to push enemies in front of him, sending them flying across the map. This ability is good to make a quick escape or to kill enemies, as it'll one-shot everyone but heavies and can be used to push villains and troopers off ledges, plummeting to their death. Force Repulse allows Luke to slam his hand into the ground, creating a force shockwave, knocking enemies off their feet and sometimes killing them. This ability has a really bad animation, and you can be melted as it is not very strong, just barely one-shotting any of the troopers. Rush is Luke's ability that allows him to dash, swinging his lightsaber and dealing damage to troopers in front of him. It again does not do a large amount of damage, but is good to traverse an open area fast if you need to get a quick escape. Luke has decent stamina, but like Vader, can be drained easily when multiple enemies are firing on you. Now, we are going to go over the setup I would use for Luke no matter what. Luke has 5 main star cards I would suggest. Extended Push Reach, which allows you to push enemies farther, making it easier to knock escaping villains and troopers off ledges. Stronger Push is a great card to pair with the Extended Reach card, as it has greater knockback and can subdue those pesky minigun spammers or mauls gaining up on you. Epicenter is the only card I would recommend for Luke's Repulse, as it does make a difference in damage, however only slightly. As long as enemies are staying within half its radius, it'll grant extra damage. The last card, Cleanse in the Darkness, is Luke's health card, and I cannot stress enough how important health cards are. Some are more important than others, but that's another topic for another video. And lastly, before I learned about Epicenter, I would use Luke's Jedi Reflexes card, which gives Luke 1 extra rush, making him have 3 rushes but at the cost of a slower recharge rate. I don't see this card necessary unless you want to be able to be a speed demon and only use it to attack enemies samurai style, or if you need an extra help getting away. You can basically mix and match any of these cards, but I would mostly use Extended Reach, Epicenter, and Cleanse of Darkness. If you see a lot of big boys in your game, you can swap out Extended Reach for Stronger Push to knock them over. I've already covered Stamina in my previous video, so check that one out if you need an introduction on how it works. I want to clarify Luke is probably one of the buggiest characters in the game. A few patches ago, Luke's saber would only do damage on the second swing, making him pretty much unplayable for me as I would get frustrated easily. Thankfully, it has been fixed and Luke is back to normal, or as normal as he'll get. Luke's abilities are buggy as well. I would not suggest using his push or repulse as your ace tricks because they sometimes do not work and will outright refuse to hit anyone or do any sort of damage. This happens about half the time, so make sure you are aware of this. Another tip I would like to add is when you jump and get as high as you can, use his push to gain a bit more height to get away. For fuck's sake, please don't use this to get out of the map, as it's a shitty thing to do and makes you a bad player. Now, besides all of that, Luke's Force Push is probably the better of them in the game, as it is the fastest to use and doesn't really have an animation that'll get you killed. A good way I found to use this is by jumping and using it, as I found most times villains like to jump, so why not knock them back down to the ground and force them to fight. It is also a good thing to use it to push away enemies if you are getting melted by them.
Pick him off!
The next ability up is Repulse. It is a decent ability for knocking down a group of charging enemies. It has a very long animation, leaving you vulnerable, and I would not use it out in the open so you can get melted by troopers or by stun locks. It doesn't have the great potential that Force Push has, but I think it's the closest we are going to get to an ability like Star Killers from the Force Unleashed, so I guess it's okay in this sense. Another thing to warn you guys about is that sometimes after doing Repulse, Luke will then use the Rush ability, sometimes causing me to fall off ledges or run into enemies. This is pretty much a death sentence, and I have no idea if it's a bug or if it's intended, but it's been in the game since launch, so be aware of this. It happens about half the time, so just make sure you're looking out for it.
I've got this!
Finally, Luke's Rush is probably his most consistent ability as it deals decent damage, making it good to pick off a fleeing opponent. The animation is not my favorite, as I prefer the first EA Battlefront's animation where he just swipes across, which in turn has a bigger hitbox than this, but we have to make do with what we have. Honestly, I very rarely hit who I'm going for, and it all just depends on the hitbox of your enemy. Again, you can turn hero or villain's lightsabers off by holding Y or triangle and pairing that with his incredible speed. It will be a shadow on nighttime maps unless Luke decides to shadow out quote lines as you're sneaking up on enemies. I just want to reiterate that Luke is the exact opposite of Vader, and as also said for him, I will say for Luke. If you don't like the really fast characters where you have to have a big DPS output, I would not recommend Luke, but I would encourage you to try him as he is fun to use. Luke has left pretty mixed feelings for me in these last two games, as he's been somewhat tweaked between both and has his progressions and regressions from the last Battlefront. I guess I'm just dissatisfied with Luke because he's supposed to be one of the most powerful Jedi in existence, but how he plays in the game just doesn't represent that. However, Luke is still one of my better characters in the game and is one of my favorite heroes in the franchise. Anyway, this has been my guide on how to play Luke Skywalker. Thank you all for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed, and comment below what do you think of Luke in this game and how well has he done for you. Also leave a comment on who you want me to cover next. For now, have a great day.
Target spotted.
You see him? You're outnumbered. Soft.